In the year 2347, humanity had spread across dozens of star systems. What once seemed like an impossible dream, faster-than-light travel, artificial intelligence, colonies on alien worlds had become normal life. Earth was now more of a memory than a home for most people. But even with all their power and knowledge, humans still hadn't found anyone else out there, until now. Commander Rhea Kale sat alone in her small office aboard the deep space listening station Erebus 9, floating silently near the edge of known space. It was one of the least exciting postings in the entire Solarian fleet. Her job was simple: monitor deep space frequencies, log anomalies, and send weekly reports that nobody ever read. She didn't mind. Quiet was good. Peaceful. A break from the noise of warships and politics back on Mars Prime. But tonight, something changed. A signal came through. Not just any signal. It was a repeating burst. Encoded in a language no one had ever seen before. It wasn't coming from any known human colony or probe. It was far beyond the outer edges of mapped space, somewhere near the ancient and abandoned Vega system. Rhea's AI assistant, MIRA, flagged it immediately. Unknown transmission detected. Origin: deep space coordinates uncharted. Signal strength: high. Probability of artificial origin, 99.9997%. At first she thought it was a glitch. Maybe a broken probe from the old Terran expansion era sending out corrupted data. Or a joke by some hacker trying to mess with long-range comms. But as she listened closer, her heart began to beat faster. The signal wasn't random. It had structure, patterns, emotion. And then buried beneath layers of code, Mira decrypted. Fragment. Human. Hear us. That stopped Rhea cold. Human. No known alien species had ever used that word. No recorded civilization outside Earth had ever acknowledged humanity by name. This wasn't just contact. It was targeted communication. Her hands trembled as she pulled up the full signal. There were images inside it, strange symbols, star maps, and something else. Something chilling. A warning. They are watching. Hide. You must not answer yet. Learn first. Rhea stared at the screen for a long time. Who or what was this? How did they know who humans were? She reported the discovery immediately, but within minutes, her access was cut off. All data was locked behind high-level encryption. Orders came down from Mars Command. Do not investigate further. Await instructions. But Rhea wasn't the kind to wait. She knew history. She remembered the stories told around training fires, when she was just a cat of tales of lost ships, silent colonies, and strange disappearances near Vega, all dismissed as myths or mechanical failure. Now, she wasn't so sure, so she made a choice. While the rest of the crew slept, she accessed the backup logs and copied the signal onto a secure drive. She sent a private message to someone she trusted, Captain Dax Harrow, a rogue explorer who had gone off-grid after being kicked out of the fleet for unauthorized missions. If anyone could help her find the truth, it was him. The message was short. Dax, I found something. Something that should not exist. Meet me at Vega Station Theta, alone. Bring your ship. Then she powered down her console, packed her gear, and left Erebus 9 behind. As the shuttle pulled away into the dark void, she looked back one last time. Behind her, the stars shimmered quietly. Somewhere out there, someone or something was watching, and they were waiting for a reply. Once a decorated officer, he became a legend, and then a ghost. After being court-martialed for unauthorized exploration near forbidden zones, he vanished. Some said he died in a black hole zone. Others believed he joined a rebel fleet hiding beyond the edge of known space. But Rhea Kale knew better. She had always known where to find him. Vega Station Theta was a forgotten refueling post orbiting a dead moon. Most people thought it had been abandoned after the collapse wars, but Rhea had studied old data logs. She knew it still had power. And more. Importantly, it was far from Solarian eyes. That's why she chose it. When her shuttle docked, The station was silent. No lights, no life signs. Just cold metal and echoes. Then, out of the darkness, a voice crackled through the cums. "If you're not Rhea Kale, turn around now," she smiled. "It's me, Dax." Pause. Then the sound of boots on steel. Moments later, the main door opened. He looked older, thinner. His uniform was gone, replaced by a rugged pilot's jacket covered in patches from places no one talked about anymore. His face carried lines that hadn't been there before, marks of time, pain, and choices. But his eyes, still sharp, still full of fire. "I didn't think I'd ever hear from you again," Dax said. Rhea stepped forward. "You always said if I found something big, something real, I should come to you." Dax raised an eyebrow. "And what did you find?" She pulled out the secure drive. "A message. From someone we don't know. Someone who knows us. They warned us not to answer yet. Said we needed to learn first." Dax took the drive carefully. Like it was made of glass, they went to the control room. He connected the drive to the station's ancient system. The screen flickered, then lit up with strange symbols and star maps. Myra's decrypted fragment played again. "Human. Here. Us. They are watching, we hide. You must not answer yet. Learn first." Dax stared at it for a long time. "This isn't just contact," he muttered. "This is warning." Rhea nodded. "But why warn us? If they wanted to stay hidden, why send a signal at all?" Dax tapped the console. A new file appeared, a map of deep space filled with red markers. "These are lost ships, vanished colonies, unexplained disappearances. All near Vega." Rhea's breath caught. "They were silenced," she whispered. Dax stood up. "We need answers, and I know where to start." He turned to her. "There's a derelict ship floating near Vega Prime, the SS Dauntless. It's the last human vessel to go missing. In this sector, if anyone left behind clues, it'll be there." Rhea frowned. "The Dauntless. That thing's been declared a dead zone. Too dangerous." Dax smirked. "Danger never stopped us before." She hesitated only a second before nodding. "All right, let's go." Hours later, their small scout ship Stormwing slipped into deep space, heading toward Vega Prime. Behind them, Vega Station Theta faded into darkness. Ahead, a ghost ship waited, and somewhere in the void, unseen eyes were still watching. The Stormwing drifted silently through space, its lights dimmed to avoid detection. Ahead, floating like a broken monument, is the SS Dauntless, a once proud Solarian warship, now twisted and lifeless. It had vanished over 10 years ago without a trace. Now, it hung frozen in orbit around Vega Prime, caught between light and shadow. Rhea Kale stood at the cockpit window, staring at the wreck. "It looks untouched," she whispered. Dax Harrow leaned back in his seat, arms crossed. "That's what worries me." They suited up quickly. The docking bay of the Dauntless was sealed shut but not locked. With a soft hiss, the airlock opened, revealing darkness inside. They stepped onto alien silence. Lights flickered weakly along the corridor walls. Emergency beacons blinked like dying stars. No signs of movement. No sound except for their own footsteps on cold metal. "This place should have lost power decades ago," Rhea said quietly. Dax nodded. "Someone or something is keeping it alive." They moved deeper into the ship, weapons ready. Every step echoed. Every shadow felt like it was watching them. Suddenly, Mir's voice came through Rhea's earpiece, scanning nearby rooms. Detecting residual energy signatures, possible AI core still active. Dax raised an eyebrow. "If that thing is still running, we might get some answers." They found the main control room after 5 minutes of careful navigation. Dust floated in the air like ghosts. Wires dangled from the ceiling. But in the center of the room, a single console glowed faintly. Rhea approached and placed her hand on the interface. A burst of static filled the room. Then, slowly a hologram appeared. It was a man, not a real one, just a projection. A recording left behind by someone who had been here long ago. He wore the uniform of a Solarian fleet officer. His face was tired, his eyes full of fear. "I don't have much time," he began. "If you're seeing this, then maybe humanity has a second chance?" He looked straight ahead. "My name is Captain Elias Vorn. I was commander of the SS Dauntless. We were sent to investigate a signal near Vega Prime, just like you. Found it, and we answered." His voice cracked slightly. "We shouldn't have." Rhea and Dax exchanged worried glances. The moment we responded, Vorn continued, "They knew we were here, not just humans, something else, older, smarter, watching us from the dark. They paused. They don't attack. They wait. They study. And when they understand your weakness, they erase you." He looked down. "We tried to run. We failed. Most of my crew are gone. Some changed." The screen flickered. "One survived, maybe still on board. If you find him, listen carefully. He knows more than I do." The hologram faded. Silence returned. Rhea exhaled slowly. "So, we're not the first, and we won't be the last." Dax tapped his comms, Mira. "Scan for any surviving life forms on board." There was a pause. One life sign detected. Deep within the ship, human Rhea turned to Dax. "We need to find him." They followed the signal deeper into the ship, past collapsed corridors and shattered doors. The atmosphere grew heavier, colder, finally. They reached a sealed door marked Containment Level 4, Authorized Personnel Only. Behind it, the survivor waited. With a final command, the door opened. Inside, sitting alone in the dark, was a man. His skin was pale, his eyes hollow. He looked up slowly. "You came," he whispered. Rhea took a cautious step forward. "Who are you?" The man smiled weakly. "My name is Lieutenant Eric Solon. I was the only one they let live." He looked at them with deep sadness. "And if you want to survive, you'll leave this place. Now." Lieutenant Eric Solon sat in the dim light, his body weak, but his eyes sharp. He looked at Rhea and Dax like they were ghosts-like. He couldn't believe anyone had made it this far. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered. Rhea stepped closer. "We need to know what happened." Arik took a deep breath, as if remembering was painful. "I'll tell you," he said slowly. "But not here. Not in this room." He stood up with effort. His legs trembled, but he kept moving. Dax watched him carefully, hand near his sidearm. Just in case, they followed Eric through narrow halls filled with dust and silence. Now the ship groaned around them like it was still alive but barely breathing. Finally, they reached a small lab hidden behind a collapsed bulkhead. Eric tapped a code into the wall panel, and the door slid open with a hiss. Inside, old data terminals blinked to life. Holograms flickered. One showed a star map covered in red markers. "This is what we found," Arik said, pointing at the screen. Rhea leaned in. "What am I looking at?" Arik touched a button. The map zoomed out, showing dozens of systems beyond Vega. "These are human colonies. All vanished, all erased, and not by accident." Dax frowned. "You're saying someone wiped us out?" Arik nodded. "Not just once. Over and over, every time humans expanded too far, too fast, they were stopped." Rhea's voice was quiet. "Who did this?" Arik turned to face them. "They call themselves the Watchers." He tapped another command. A new image appeared, a massive alien structure floating in deep space. It wasn't built for travel. It was built for observation, for control. "They don't attack directly," Eric continued. "They study, they wait. And when they understand your weaknesses, they erase you." Dax crossed his arms. "And why? Warn us now? Why send that signal?" Eric's face darkened. "Because something changed." He pulled up an old video log. The screen showed Captain Vorn again, his face more tired than before. "We found something. A message from an older species, one that fought the Watchers long ago. They left behind warnings, instructions, a way to fight back." Warren paused, but it's buried deep. "In the ruins of Vega Prime, if you want to survive, go there, learn, or we will all vanish like the ones before us." The screen cut to static. Silence filled the room. Life had started to feel comfortable for Alex and Zero. They had found a rhythm in their day-to-day life, one that balanced their differences with respect and understanding. They still had their occasional awkward moments, but those were just reminders that no matter how hard you try, no one is perfect. And as time went on, Alex began to realize that the bond he was forming with Zero was deeper than just friendship. It was something unique, something that couldn't be easily defined. It was a quiet Saturday afternoon when things shifted again. Alex and Zira were sitting together on the couch, enjoying a lazy day off. Zira had been reading a book on Earth's history, while Alex was scrolling through his phone. The day had been calm, a rare break from their usual busy routines. Alex was starting to feel at ease in a way he hadn't before. Zira suddenly closed her book and looked over at Alex. There was something different in her expression. Something thoughtful. Alex raised an eyebrow, curious. "What's up, Zira?" he asked, pausing his phone. Zira hesitated for a moment, her dark eyes scanning Alex's face as if she was searching for the right words. "I've been thinking a lot," she began, "about everything I've learned here, about Earth, and about us." Alex felt a small pang of curiosity mixed with a hint of nervousness. "What do you mean?" Zira took a deep breath before continuing. "I've been thinking about how much I've changed since I arrived. When I first came here, I felt so lost. I didn't know how to interact with people, how to understand your world. But now, I feel like I've learned so much. It's because of you. You've helped me so much, Alex." Alex's heart warmed at her words, but he could see that Zero was struggling with something deeper. "You've changed a lot, Zero. But I think you always had it in you. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for." Zero smiled, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Maybe, but there's something I need to tell you, something I've been keeping to myself. I've started feeling different. More than just learning about Earth. I've been feeling connected to you in a way I didn't expect." Alex's heart skipped a beat. He could feel a shift in the air between them, something that wasn't there before. "Connected how?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Zira paused again, her gaze dropping to her hands. "Hard to explain, but I've never had a connection like this with anyone. Back home, we don't form relationships the way humans do. But with you, Alex, it's different. I feel like I can trust you completely. I feel like I care about you. More than just as a roommate. More than just a friend." Alex felt his pulse quicken. His mind raced as he tried to process her words. He had always cared about Zira, but he hadn't thought of their relationship in that way. But now, as Zira sat there, vulnerable and open, he couldn't deny the feelings that had been growing inside him. "I care about you too, Zira," Alex said softly. I think I always have." Zira looked up at him, her eyes shining with a mix of hope and uncertainty. "Really?" Alex nodded, his heart feeling lighter than it ever had before. "Yeah, we've been through so much together. You've become more than just a roommate to me. You've become my friend. And maybe, maybe more than that." Room was silent for a moment, the weight of their words hanging in the air. Zira's face lit up with a soft, genuine smile, and Alex felt a warmth spread through him. For the first time, he understood what it meant to truly connect with someone, to feel that bond grow stronger with every passing day. Zira took a deep breath, a small laugh escaping her lips. "I never thought I would find something like this. On Earth, I thought I'd be here, alone, just trying to figure things out. But with you, Alex, I don't feel alone anymore." Alex reached out, gently taking her hand. "You're not alone, Zira, not anymore. We'll figure this out together, whatever happens." Zira squeezed his hand, her smile widening. "You, Alex, you've made me feel at home in a place I never thought I would." The next few days were filled with quiet conversations and new realizations. Zira continued to grow more comfortable on Earth, and Alex found himself falling deeper into the friendship they had built. But now it felt like something more, something unspoken but understood between them. One evening, as they sat on the balcony watching the stars, Zira turned to Alex. "I've been thinking about something," she said softly. "Maybe, it's time for me to visit home. I've been here for so long, and I think I've learned everything I can from Earth. It might be time to go back. Alex felt a sudden pang of sadness at the thought of Zira leaving. He had grown so accustomed to her presence, to the quiet moments they shared. He couldn't imagine life without her. I understand, Alex said, trying to hide the ache in his chest. You've learned so much, Zira, and I know your homeworld must miss you. But if you go, will you come back? Zira looked at him, her expression soft and full of emotion. I will. I'm not leaving for good, I'm just going. To visit, to see my family, and remind myself where I come from. But I'll always come back to you, Alex. You've become my home. Alex smiled, his heart swelling with pride and affection. Then go. Go and do what you need to do. And when you come back, we'll be here. Together. Zira leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. Thank you, Alex, for everything. Alex hugged her tightly, feeling the weight of their words. Knowing that no matter what the future held, they had each other. Rhea looked at Arik. You've been waiting for someone to come? Arik nodded. I couldn't leave. I was too weak. But now you're here. You can finish what we started. Dax asked the question neither of them wanted to say. What exactly are we finishing? Arik walked to a locked drawer and opened it. Inside was a small metal box. He handed it to Rhea. This, he said, is everything we learned. Everything they tried to erase. Rhea opened the box. Inside was a data chip and a single note. Find the Ark. Wake the First. Looked. Up. What is the Ark? Arik smiled sadly. A weapon. A ship. A memory? No one knows exactly. But it's real. It's buried on Vega Prime. Dax exhaled. So we go down to the planet. Arik shook his head. No, you go deeper, beneath the surface. Where even the Watchers fear to look. Rhea stood up straight. If this Ark exists, it could change everything. Arik looked her. In the eye, it already has. Outside, the ship creaked again, as if something in the dark was listening. No wind. No sound. Just silence wrapped in red dust and broken sky. Rhea Kale stepped out of the storm wing, boots crunching on ancient stone. The planet had once been considered for colonization, but something about it scared even the most fearless explorers. Now, she understood why it felt wrong, like it was waiting. Dax Harrow followed her down the ramp, scanning the horizon with his visor. Feels like we're being watched. You probably are, Rhea replied. They checked their gear one. Last time, Eric's message had led them here to coordinates buried beneath layers of corrupted files and forgotten logs. A hidden structure deep underground. If the Ark existed, this was where they'd find it. Mira, Rhea's AI assistant, spoke through, her earpiece scanning surface, detecting faint energy signature below. Possible entrance located 300 meters east. They moved quickly, weapons ready, eyes scanning every shadow. The terrain was rough broken towers, of rock and half-buried. Ruined signs of an old civilization? One that had vanished long before humans arrived in Vega space. Then they saw it, a dark opening in the ground, covered by collapsed stone. But there was a pattern in the rubble, not natural. Designed, Dax tapped the side of his helmet. This wasn't. Just buried, it was sealed. Rhea stepped closer. She pulled up the data chip Eric had given them. Symbols flashed across her wrist display, matching the carvings on the stone. She touched one. The ground trembled. With a low groan, the rocks shifted. Dust flew. And slowly, the entrance opened. A wide tunnel leading into darkness. Rhea looked at Dax. Looks like we were expected. They entered. Lights flickered to life as they descended, powered by something far older than any known tech. The walls were lined with symbols, not just writing. Warnings. One read, "This is not a tomb. This is a prison." Dax raised an eyebrow. Well, that's reassuring. They kept moving. The deeper they went, the colder it got. Their breath turned to mist. The air felt heavy, like it carried weight from another time. Finally, they reached a large door. It was massive metal mixed with something else. Organic? Mechanical? Impossible to tell. At its center was a glowing panel. Rhea placed her hand. On it, the door slid open with a deep hiss. Inside was a chamber unlike anything they had seen before. Tall columns rose into darkness. Strange machines pulsed with slow rhythmic light. At the center stood a single platform, and on it, figured not. Human tall, thin, eyes closed. Skin like polished glass, frozen in time, Rhea whispered. Is it alive? Mira answered quietly. Unknown. Biological systems suspended, neural activity minimal. Act. Stepped forward. What the hell is it? Rhea scanned the room. This must be the first. They approached carefully. Suddenly, the lights around the platform brightened. The figure's eyes snapped open, glowing blue, empty, watching. A voice echoed in their minds. Not spoken, but felt. You have come too soon. Rhea took a step back. We didn't mean to wake you. The figure tilted its head. You did not wake me. You only reminded me I was sleeping. Dax tightened his grip on his weapon. Who or what are you? The voice came again. I am memory. I am war. I am the last of my kind. The pause. And now I am your warning. Rhea swallowed hard. The Watchers. They erased us before, didn't they? The figure nodded slowly. They fear what they do not understand. Humans grow too fast. Learn too much. That is why they erase. Dax asked the question neither of them wanted to ask, what can we do? The figure raised a hand. A hologram appeared, showing Vega system, then expanding outward. Planets lit up like stars. Then, one by one, they faded. You must awaken the Ark. Only it can shield you from the eye above. Rhea frowned. What is the Ark? The figure looked at her. It is not a ship. It is not a weapon. It is a truth. Then it added, but first, you must survive the test. The lights dimmed, and the chamber began to change. Metal walls shifted. Machines whirred. Shadows moved. Something was waking up. The chamber changed around them. Walls shifted like liquid metal. Lights dimmed. The glowing figure known only as the first stood motionless on the platform, watching with those strange, empty eyes. Then the voice echoed again, not in sound, but in thought. You seek strength without understanding. Ask for weapons before you know how to fight. Da-da-da. Rhea Kale tightened her grip on her sidearm. We don't have time for riddles, she said. If the Watchers are coming, we need answers. Dax Harrow stepped beside her, scanning the room. Something's happening, he muttered. He was right. The floor beneath them began to ripple, not physically but mentally, as if reality itself was bending suddenly. They were no longer in the chamber. They stood in a city, a human city. Skyscrapers rose into a burning sky. Explosions lit up the streets. People ran, screamed, and above it all, something hovered in. Enormous black structure, silent and unmoving. A Watcher. Rhea turned to Dax. This isn't real, she whispered. Dax looked around. No, but it could be. The first's voice returned. This is a memory, a warning, a test. A child ran past them, crying out for help. A mother reached for her, but before she could pull her close, both vanished in a flash of light, erased. Rhea's breath caught. They're showing us what happens if we fail. The first appeared beside them, still calm. This is one of many futures. Yours. Suddenly a shadow moved in the distance. Tall. Thin figures emerged from the smoke. It's not human. They wore dark armor that shimmered like oil. Their faces were smooth. No mouths. No eyes. But Rhea felt their presence like a cold wind. She raised her weapon. Dax did the same. One of the figures spoke not with sound, but with thought. You do not belong. Then it attacked. Energy crackled through the air. Buildings collapsed. The ground split open. Rhea dove behind cover, heart pounding. They're not just memories, she shouted. They're real. Dax fired his pulse pistol. But the shots passed through the enemy like mist. They're testing, If we understand, he yelled. Not just how to fight, but why. Rhea gritted her teeth. Then how do we win? The first's voice returned. You must prove your purpose. Suddenly a new scene formed around them. They were in space now. A massive human fleet floated near a distant star. Ships gleamed under alien suns. Then came the Watchers, silent, cold. The humans fired. Missiles, lasers, bombs. Nothing worked. Then a single ship broke formation. It wasn't a warship. It was a research vessel. It broadcasted a message across all frequencies. We are not here to conquer. We are here to learn. The Watchers paused. Then the entire human fleet disappeared. Erased only the research vessel. Remained, floating alone. Rhea stared at the scene. That's it, she whispered. They don't fear our weapons. Fear our curiosity. Dax nodded slowly. They erase civilizations that expand without understanding. But if we prove we can learn, maybe we survive. The first watched them carefully. You begin to see. The illusion faded. They were back in the chamber. The first stepped forward. You have passed the first test. The walls opened again, revealing a long corridor lined with glowing symbols. At the end, a door waited. Beyond it, something powerful. Rhea looked at Dax. You ready? He smirked. I didn't come this far to turn back now. Together they stepped forward. The door slid open. Darkness awaited. Corridor stretched into darkness. Rhea, Kale, and Dax Harrow moved carefully, side by side. Their weapons were ready, but they both knew this wasn't a place for bullets. This was where humanity's fate would be decided. Not by force, but by choice. At the end of the tunnel. A massive door waited. It was unlike anything they had seen before. Not metal, not stone. Something alive, pulsed like a heartbeat. The first appeared beside them again, silent as ever. Beyond this door lies the Ark. Rhea looked at it. What exactly is the Ark? The first tilted its head. A seed. Shield, a voice. Dax frowned. That doesn't exactly answer the question. The first stepped forward and placed a hand on the door. You must understand. The Ark does not fight for you. It awakens what you already are. With a deep hum, the door opened. Inside was a vast chamber filled with light, floating platforms, endless data streams. And at the center a glowing core suspended in midair, the Ark. Rhea stepped closer. Her mind felt strange, like it was expanding. Mira spoke through her earpiece, sensing high-level neural activity, linking to unknown system. Suddenly, images flooded her mind. Planets, civilizations, wars, erased, worlds, and then humanity. From firelit caves to space colonies, from fear to courage, from ignorance to understanding. She saw everything. She saw why the Watchers feared. Humans. Because humans didn't just survive. They learned. They changed. They grew. Rhea gasped as she fell to her knees. Dax caught her. You okay? He asked. She looked up, eyes wide. I understand now, she whispered. The Ark isn't a weapon. It's a message, a signal, one that tells the Watchers we're different. Dax turned to the first. So if we send it, they'll leave us alone. The first nodded slowly. Not forever, but long enough. Rhea stood up. We have to send it across all frequencies. Every human colony, every ship, every world. Dax smirked. Then let's light up the stars. They worked fast. Using the Ark's interface, Rhea uploaded the signal, the truth about humanity's nature, its hunger for knowledge, its need to explore, its refusal to stay silent. As the signal built, the chamber began to shake. Warning lights flashed. External threat detected, Mira said. Multiple Watcher vessels entering orbit. Dax cursed. They know what we're doing. Rhea didn't stop. They can try to stop us. But they won't. She activated the final command. Signal launching, across Vega system and beyond. Ark's message spread. Every human mind felt it. Not as sound, not as words, as understanding. We are not conquerors. We are not threats. We are explorers. We are students. We are here to learn, in orbit above Vega Prime. The Watchers paused. Their dark ships hung motionless. Then one by one, they vanished, silent gone, but not gone forever. The test was passed. For now, back in the chamber, the arc dimmed. Its purpose fulfilled for now. The first looked at, Rhea and Dax. You have done what many before could not. Rhea smiled. And what happens now? The first stepped back into the shadows. Now you grow. The ground shook again. The chamber began to seal itself. Dax grabbed Rhea's arm. We should go. They ran out just as the entrance collapsed. Behind them, outside, the sky was clear. Vega Prime was quiet once more. Back aboard the Stormwing. Rhea sat in the cockpit looking at the stars. Dax joined her. You think it worked? He asked. She nodded. For now, but one day they'll come back. He leaned back. Then we better be ready. The ship lifted off, leaving Vega Prime behind. Behind them, the planet faded into darkness. But ahead, galaxy full of secrets, and humanity was finally awake.